Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Ministering Over Fostering. If you haven't noticed, we are doing this episode a little bit different and a little more intimate, I think. We're going to do it kind of like a little coffee with Myra Lakiesha today.
Ooh, I like how that sounds.
Yeah. So my name is Myra. For those that don't know me, I am the co-founder and executive director of SNL. I am enjoying some Caribbean coffee today, and it's actually on point. Lakiesha, tell us about you.
My name is Lakiesha Hall, and I am one of the executive directors and founder as well of SNL. Geez, to be honest, I am enjoying, I don't know what kind of coffee because I made this earlier and it's still a little like lukewarm, but it's still good. So
Well,
there we go.
If you can, pause this, go get yourself your cup of coffee and sit down and enjoy it with us. We would love to take you on this little ride. The reason why we're doing this a little bit different is because we've been serving since October, actually, of 2021,
Yes.
which is when we launched SNL. And we have come across some feedback and some questions, and we think they're very good questions.
Yeah, very valid questions.
Yeah, and I think we just want to address those, answer some of those questions today before we bring in some more very important and interesting guests. But we're going to tackle those questions today in a very raw and honest form, the way Lakiesha and I do every other episode of MOF. So pause this. This is the time that you have to go get your coffee.
Make sure it's warm.
Yeah,
or
make sure
hot.
it's warm. And if you have something sweet, even better. Let's just get started. So we have a little cup of the questions here. Lakiesha, do you want to open it?
Sure. So the first question is, what are your goals and aspirations for SNL moving forward?
That's a deep question.
I love that. I feel like Myra and I have so many goals that a lot of times we have to figure out like, okay, let's start from here before we can get to there. But SNL, we do have a lot of exciting things lined up for 2023. Some of those being workshops, and we can't quite give all the information out on those yet, but we have some workshops and special events planned that we can't wait to get the community involved.
And I think even just in taking this question a little bit further, goals and aspirations, one of the reasons why we opened SNL was really to make an impact with as many children and youth that we possibly can in our immediate community. And we've already kind of started touching that, but I feel that there's so many more children and youth that we want to have access to. Right now we're growing. As we grow, we are extending ourselves as well. So our impact is a little bit smaller, but it's growing with us. And we have plans for the future for SNL in ways that I think when Lakiesha and I first started, it wasn't there, and now it has been birthed from some of the other things that we'll be addressing in other questions. But not just having SNL as to what it is, but expanding it to have other projects that also be geared to particularly aged out youth. So our goals and aspirations are a lot bigger than just this, and we are taking it step by step.
I feel like we have seen a little bit more of a need with even young parents. They may not directly be in the foster care system, but we want to wrap our arms around them and let them know that they are loved and there are resources available so that they do not lose their children. Definitely new directions that we will be taking the agency in. I'm so excited about that.
Okay, question number 2. By the way, these questions came through some of the people who have visited us, just some feedback, even some of our youth. So don't be shocked by some of the questions that come up. Okay? So one of the questions that we got that came directly from some of the youth we've been working with is, why do you care so much about me? This is a very interesting question because we've actually gotten this question on a few occasions from various youth. It's a very genuine question, I think, and we know it's a response to trauma, right? Because they've experienced a lot, and so
a lot of loss.
yeah, here's two people in their lives that are being consistent, are very
that are complete started off as complete strangers, yeah,
but they've become this like constant, and they've become a place of refuge. And to let you all know, we don't share everything on social media that happens in our office, because we genuinely care and cover the confidentiality of our youth that come into this place.
Yes.
We have youth that stop by randomly and they spend hours here with us. We talk about different things, and those things they're not meant for the lens of everyone else. This is their safe place.
Yes.
And I think the way I would address this is, why do you care so much? For me personally, is because someone cared for me. And had it not been for some of those adults or mentors, had it not been for them, I don't know that I would be here today. And I think that fuels me, and it motivates me to be that adult in the life of some of these kids. They're not even kids, but they're our kids, they're youth. But for them to have adults that genuinely want to reach out and want to know how they're doing, and want to see the best in them, and want to see them reach levels that they didn't even think they could reach themselves.
To speak life into them.
It's in the power of the tongue, right?
Yeah, because the system, a lot of times we tend to break down. We see that, you know, the youth coming in they have a case book, and sometimes it's not the prettiest things in these case books or case files. And if we were to just look at those case files, it is easy to say, oh yeah, well, your potential is not fully there. But I feel like Myra and myself, we see beyond those case files, or to know that you might have done some things when you were younger. And a lot of times it could have been just the environment, right? Or it could have been aggravated, almost like, right?
Like a response to the environment or what's happening, right? You think about survival, fight or flight. Do I have to defend myself? Or is this all I know?
So then when we speak life and see their potential, it's just bringing out the best of them. And I don't think there's one situation so far that we have seen a negative response by speaking life into these youth that we come into contact with. So I think, like, for myself, it's more so going beyond and seeing their potential to create a safe haven that even if you're having a bad day, it's okay. Like, I have bad days. But guess what we do beyond those bad days is we pick ourselves up and we try again. And that's what this agency is all about. This is what this building is all about. A safe haven to come, have your snacks, have your coffee, just chat with us sometimes, and we'll continue to do so.
I think what you're saying is so powerful, because when you think about, and I think it can be very cliche, this idea of don't judge a book by its cover. But I think for us that have some of these pages in these books that we wish we could get rid of, or we wish we weren't there, right? Like, if I could rewrite my story, maybe I would change it. But don't judge me by what you see on the outside,
or what you hear,
or, you know, there's so much more to me as an individual, and my story isn't done. And I remember having this conversation with one of our youth. My story is mine to share, and I get to decide who I share it with, how much I share with who I share it with. And I also get to decide what parts of my story I'm not ready to share, or I want to omit, or maybe there are parts of my story that I know are going to be rewritten. They're going to change, right? As I change, as I grow, as I mature. And so we can't judge these children or these kids by what you're saying, this case file. There's more to them than that, and I think you and I have just been a witness to that.
And let's not forget, we all have stories. Right? With whether we've been placed in the foster care system or not, we all have stories. And I'm sure that a lot of our if we were to have a case file, some things might be a little similar. So
I agree. So this is why we care so much about you, because we love you all, and we have been through our own story, and we are just here to help you finish rewriting your story, whatever that looks like. So we won't shy away from whatever is already there. All right.
Not at all. Okay. Since launching, what are some moments that stand out?
Oh man. I think you and I are gonna cry on this episode.
I think, again, it goes into the moments that you do not see on social media, that we do not catch on video. Just the moments that are between us and individuals who come in this office that makes it so special, and acknowledging that, yes, this was supposed to happen. We were supposed to go out on faith and create this agency. I want to say, even what sticks out is working with transitional youth. That has been the hugest impact. As social workers, we knew some things about that and had some experience with it, but since starting this agency, I just feel like it made it a little bit more broader as to what we need to do, and that's been very special.
I think what stands out the most, I'm really thinking about this question as I hear you speak, because it's a very deep question, and I think it's hard to pinpoint what are those particular moments, because I think all of it has been just such a powerful testimony. I think when we sit down and share with people how this came about, it's hard for people to believe us how it came about.
They don't believe us half the time.
Yeah, or they kind of look at us like, what? And
okay, what's the real?
Yeah, like what? And we're like, no, really, we walked out in faith, and then all of this came about without us even. I mean, we've worked hard, and I'm not going to minimize what we've done, but a lot of this has been gifted to us, and we know from who. This is directly from our Lord, who's taking and watching over this agency. This was dedicated to him for his work.
Yes.
But one of the moments I think that stands out the most for me is how we are coming into contact with these youth and these children. And we are coming into contact with them through people that we know and that know our testimony, people that are having an experience with us directly, and then they meet somebody that has foster children, or they meet a youth who is aged out, and they give them our information and say, I don't know if they have what you need, but they're gonna figure it out, call them. And that has spoken a lot to me, for the reason that for someone else to be out there saying there's two women here that we know that represent SNL, and we don't know what they do really 100%. We don't know what they have 100%, but we do know that their hearts are for children and youth that are in care. And even if you have been adopted, even if you are living with family for temporary means or long-term means, or even if you've been in the system and you're no longer there, even if you think you don't qualify for their services anymore, give them a call, because they might be able to help. It really has strengthened me, and it's motivated me that we're doing right.
Yes.
There's an impact that we're making, even in the people that come into contact with us.
Yeah. And not to mention that it's the funniest thing, and we know who it's from, but every time a request comes in, we're always blessed with exactly the right amount of items to give to that person before the request comes
Yeah, we
in.
get the stuff first, and then we get the request every time. That's one of the things that people don't believe us, but we get stuff and we're like, we don't know what this is for, and then we get a request and we're like, okay, now we know what this is for.
That's who it's for. That is exactly who it's for.
I don't know, Lakiesha, if you want to share a little bit, and again, there's confidentiality, so we don't give out any names or anything like that, but we had gotten a brand new stroller that was sitting there for a little while, and you and I don't like to have
things sit.
Like we get donations in and they go out. We need those to go out, right? But that stroller was there for a while, and we knew it was going to be for someone special. Can you share with us just a little bit about this testimony without giving too much information?
Yeah, so we had a stroller that sat for a while, and we were able to bless this mama with a lot of resources for her and her baby. And something, you know, she came into our closet, just happened to ask her, you know, if she needed a stroller. And to see the look on this mama's face, brand new stroller. This mama did not have transportation. So a stroller for her little one is like gold.
Yeah.
And to see that we were able to bless this mama with a stroller, and a very nice stroller at that, it just made our hearts like feel full. And because we do help our immediate community, I actually came in contact with this mama and got the privilege to see her out in the community using the stroller with her baby. And so again, that was just something that we were just so thankful for, that we are able to obtain certain resources, and that the Lord is actually giving us the knowledge as to who these resources should be going out to, who is in need of these resources. And again, it's a need or want. Like he is actually connecting us to those individuals within the community. So I think that was truly special for us to witness.
I think that's one of those moments that stands out for us, because when we got to know her story, we both felt compelled that there was so much more that this stroller was going to mean to her in this particular journey. It was going to allow her to keep her baby with her, and it was going to open up this world for her as a means of transportation. So that brand new stroller meant so much more to her than we could even imagine. And so those are those pivotal moments for us where it just sinks in and we're like, we get it.
Yeah.
We get why this was here and
was,
why it sat for a little while.
Yeah. That was the longest item that sat. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So we've already cried about that one, so we're not crying about that today. So the next question, what have you learned about this journey? We've learned a lot. I think I'll let Lakiesha get into some of the mushy stuff, but from a practical standpoint, we've learned a lot about ourselves individually.
Oh, yes.
We've learned a lot about us as a partnership, and we've learned a lot about seasons of wait. Lakiesha and I just had a conversation about this the other day on the phone. I think we spent like an hour on the phone.
Just talking about the waiting.
Talking about wait. And I'm going to share a little bit of my testimony, because this is where we become transparent in the ministering over fostering. I have been in seasons of wait at various stages in my life. And for those people who don't know a lot about my story, I have dealt with the waiting for my own child. My husband and I are going on 10 years in June. And 8 years of those, we have been waiting for a baby. And it's been an excruciating journey. It's been beautiful and painful all at the same time. It's been a lot of discovery, a lot of faith, and a lot of healing all at the same time. And so when we took this leap of faith for this agency, we didn't understand and didn't know that we were getting prepared for another season of wait. And I jokingly share this with Lakiesha, and I tell her, I think I keep failing wait because God keeps putting me through waiting seasons. So can he tell me what I need to do to like
overcome it?
Yeah, like I don't want to keep getting put through these seasons of wait.
Yeah.
But what I personally have come to learn about this journey, particularly in seasons of wait, is that a season of wait doesn't mean no. It simply means, let me teach you and let me prepare you before I say yes. And that has been the case for us through SNL. We have been growing a lot individually and as partners. We've been learning a lot about running this nonprofit and what it means to be ethical from the bottom up. From the bottom, talking about books and paperwork and organization. the decoration of our office, what we want this to feel like, what we want it to represent when people walk in. And we've been learning a lot, and I think we're being prepared so that when he says yes, we're ready for that task.
Yeah, and I think for me, if we weren't put through the waiting process, we wouldn't have developed some of our additional projects and who we plan to serve. Because again, we are social workers. We came strictly from, social work fields, and we were used to working with a lot of the younger children. I developed a passion for working with the older ones later on in my career. But, we see a lot of requests for the younger children to be adopted. And I think if we did not wait, we would not have realized some of the additional needs out there and concerns, and that this waiting process has allowed us to serve right now in the capacity that we can serve at this time. And I mean, I'm pretty proud of us.
Yeah.
I always joke and say we're small but mighty, but I do believe that's true, because when I look back at what SNL has completed thus far, we could not have done that just with 2 people.
Yeah.
And so we are not scared. We do know who is over this agency. We know who has the final say of this agency, and so far we've seen nothing but favor.
Yeah.
And so we know that we are still waiting for certain things that in our mind we thought that we would have by now. But again, we're not scared because we know that it's coming, and we also know that we still have a mission to complete in this time period.
And I think this is a good segue to provide an update for all of you who are following us and have submitted a request for a potential foster parent, potential resource parent. We want you all to know that we have not forgotten about you. This is the season of wait that we're talking about. We are still waiting on the 2 counties, which would be Riverside and San Bernardino. We have received information from Riverside, and we know that that season of wait is pending. We're waiting on San Bernardino to give us a final confirmation, but we are here and we are preparing for you so that when that comes through, all of the logistics, everything is ready to get you going. And during this time, we want you to know that we are preparing so that we can work alongside you to provide the best possible homes for our kids. Any of the kids that are going to be going through it, any of the families that are going to be coming to serve alongside us, we are working as a partnership together, and we are preparing to be that strength and support so that you can feel that you are supported as a resource parent, and that you can provide this loving care to the children, knowing that all of the other stuff we've gotten taken care of. So we're letting you know that we're still pending. That is part of this program, that's not going to go away. We're still waiting. That's where foster family agency comes into play. But during this time of wait, like Lakiesha said, it has also expanded our horizons to serve those who are not going to be under our agency and serve the community directly. And we're serving foster youth and children who are not under the coverage of an agency, and that's not going to stop either. That program will continue even after this contract solidifies. So it's a great time to give you an update so you know where we are, because we have not forgotten about you.
Yeah.
So we're preparing, I promise.
And we also have some pretty fun workshops too lined up for, especially for you all. So stay tuned because we will announce those soon.
Yes.
Okay. What have you been working on since opening? Well, I think we kind of summed that up. We, again, county contracts that are pending, but mainly, again, what you don't see on social media all the time. Especially these last couple weeks, we've had our doors open and just loving on youth in the extended foster care, and young families that have came into our office just to bless them with resources and mentorship opportunities. We have been putting together, we were excited, we put together some kits that are going out to some young families as well.
Yeah, for some Valentine's Day kits for some of the kiddos that we're working with, and so we are gathering those. But I think to answer that question too, some of the things for those who don't know what we do exactly, we do get the question like, so what do you do?
Why do you have an office?
We actually serve children that are in foster care that are not under the coverage of an agency, so they might be working directly through county. We serve kids that are in kinship care and kids that have already been adopted, and some of these families are no longer under the coverage of an agency, and so they still need some resources provided to them. But our major work is with youth who have aged out of foster care, including young moms. So moms that are in care, their babies are not considered to be in care,
and
but
dads.
they are with them, and dads, of course. The majority we get is young girls. But what we do is we provide, so we have our My Bedding project. We provide them a full bedding set. We are so thankful to those who during the holidays donated full bedding sets, because those are going to be getting ready to go out pretty soon.
Yes, very soon.
Very soon. So they've been sitting for a little bit, but they're going to be going out soon. We provide full bedding kits for these kids that they request, and our bedding is never just our bedding sets. We constantly have resources coming in to us, and those resources go out, all types of different resources, clothing,
hygiene products,
diapers,
toys.
We've even gotten donations of like non-perishables foods, like in cans, soups, and those go out as well to our kids. Produce, we do get some of that stuff as well. Even just basic like socks or beanie. There's a wonderful grandmother out there who makes beanies for her kids.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love them. Every time we get a new donation, I'm like just in awe. The quality is just beautiful,
and our kids love them.
We
have some of our youth that come back, can I have another
can I have another color?
I'm like
yes, take 4.
So that's what we do. We focus on providing resources through those projects. The Celebrate Me and the My Bedding are resources, tangible resources, but we also provide one-on-one mentorship, and that's what you don't see. This one-on-one mentorship is very customized to the needs of our young adults. They come in, they let us know what they're struggling with, and we sit with them, either Lakiesha or myself or both of us together with them, and we help walk them through day to day. Some of the questions they have as they're filling out applications, and they're questioning how much information they should put on these applications, what information they can omit, what information is necessary. Those are things that they need guidance. They need someone to walk them through that. So one-on-one mentorships, and then this year we're going to be preparing some wonderful conferences for them, workshops that they're going to be able to come gather information from professionals to help them prepare for adulthood.
And these are workshops that they're catered for them, to them, but it is also open to the community, because we want people that might have some type of contact, right, with them to know how to support them. We've come into contact with individuals that don't know all the careers that are out there, and so we just want to educate them on different aspects of life, stuff that I wish I would have been taught when I was around their age.
Just budgeting. We were just talking to one of the young ladies that was saying budgeting, right? Like we're talking about budgeting, finances, what do I do when I'm preparing to buy a house? What are some of these things that I need to look out for? So there's a lot of different things that they need access to, and it's so hard to find access when they're not under the coverage of an agency. And that's what we do. We pick them up and we say, don't worry, we got you. We're going to help you with that. So we have a lot of preparation to do as we prepare to plan those events out. So stay tuned for that. We wanted you to understand what our community programs are, because those are in effect right now while we wait for the foster and adoption agency to open through the contracts.
And we'll continue on even after.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. All right, we have 2 questions left. So here we go. Oh man, what has been the most challenging part of this journey?
Waiting.
Well, we talked about waiting.
We already talked about waiting, but that has been. I mean, because when we look back, and I'm just thinking, so before we even received our location, at this particular time in the beginning stages, we thought we found our other location.
We were wrong.
And we were very wrong.
Yeah.
And so through this waiting process, we were shown that the Lord had something better for us the whole time. And so I think even though it seems challenging to wait for certain things, we still find comfort because we look at our whole process and we're like, oh wow, okay, we waited for this, but wow, look what happened in our wait. So yeah, I would still say waiting, but in the waiting process, there's still blessings that have come throughout that season.
I think for me, one of the most challenging things that I have faced through this journey is, you know, when we've experienced some form of like trauma in our personal lives, talking about you and I, right?
Yeah.
We think back to childhood and some of the things you and I lived that have brought us here today. I think this process has made me stand in front of a mirror, and it has shown me, like, it brings to light some of those insecurities, or it brings to light some of those core beliefs that maybe I believed about myself back then because of whatever the situation was that happened in my life. And when you take such a feat like this, like what we've taken, right? Because this is a big responsibility and a big project. I think it surfaces some of those things, and we've had to face those.
Yeah,
head on.
You're right.
Like we've had to, you and I have talked about those on the phone, or when we've met together. And again, this is part of us just opening our hearts to all of you that are listening to us, but it's real. And we've had to face those insecurities. We've had to face those lies that we believed about ourselves. And we've had to say, no, this was given to us, and we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's funny because we have spoken to this topic individually, but yeah, this whole process, it stripped me from what I believed in order to acknowledge certain things. And then it's also allowed me to fix my crown and to know like whose daughter I really am. And that has been the biggest lesson for me throughout this process too.
Almost like there's a lot of humility, but there's also some like, I'm gonna be okay, a little bit of like pride, like, no, this is gonna be okay. And all of those things that maybe someone said when I was younger, or all of the things I believed because of what my story was shaped as, that's not who I am. That's not who I want to be represented as. And so I'm gonna push against this and say, no, I'm not accepting that into my life. And then we kind of have spoken life into each other. Yeah, we have.
We have.
But I think that's what makes us feel so prepared to speak life into the lives of these young kids that come into our office, because in the process of this, you and I are learning this too. And so we've been healing from some of the things that we didn't even know we needed to heal from yet. And standing in front of the mirror and saying, I accept who this person is. I accept this reflection that I'm seeing, and I'm okay with what I see. That has been a lot.
And that, I feel like that helps us to relate to what some of the young adults are going through too, because in my opinion, we're not standing there as a perfect individual. I mean, we are not perfect. We're still a work in progress, and it's okay, right? Like, we know that we can still be a work in progress and then also speak life into others as well as our own life. We know that this is a common thing. This is how we remain humble and it also shows that who again is in control of the whole situation, using imperfect people to witness and reach people. And that's what we've been learning, to sum it up, right? We don't have to be perfect people. We can continue to go on this journey and reach others and love on them.
But it does remind me of we are in the potter's hands, right? Whether you believe in God or not, we're not here to say that, but we do. And so when you think about being in the potter's hands, you think about this continual growth and reshaping and changing and adjusting, character building, strengthening, and all of that comes through some of the hardships and some of the challenges. And I think as we're facing some of these challenges, which is what the question was alluding to, we're also growing and we're also changing. Yeah, there's evolution, there's change, there's shedding of some of the things that don't serve us purpose anymore and shaping some of the things that are serving us purpose now. Again, there's so much beauty in that. It's not easy, but there is beauty in that. And that has been an amazing experience.
Yeah.
So our last question.
What's some of the feedback you've gotten from the visitation room? I feel
it is one of our favorite rooms in this office, by the way.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite rooms. First and foremost though, we had a vision when we started decorating this location. And it was to not feel cold and stuffy. And so as social workers, a lot of times visitations are held in offices. And a lot of times it just consists of maybe a couple toys, maybe some chairs, a table. And so
some don't even have toys unless the resource parents bring them or the biological parents bring them.
And so it just seemed very just a cold place. And so we wanted to change that up. So one of the things that we did was just make it a comfy environment. And we were just so blessed that in the midst of us establishing this visitation room, we've had so many mamas reach out to us and tell us hey, I am donating this. I am purchasing this for you. And that's been a huge blessing. So with that being said, the number one response we get when people see our visitation room is, wow, do you run a daycare? We get that. Do you operate a daycare? And a lot of times people that are in this field or that know what a visitation room typically looks like, they just are in awe that our visitation room looks completely different. And we will actually share some clip looks like.
Yeah. I haven't personally gotten verbal feedback, but I have observed feedback. And it's interesting because we've had people fall asleep on a little bean bag.
Yeah. Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah. By the way, thank you, Sweet Dough Cafe, for donating that amazing bean bag, because I have actually laid on it before and it's incredible. But we've had kids fall asleep on our bean bag.
Young adults,
enjoy that bean bag very much. But we've had conversations that have happened, and I think this happened during our Christmas event where we had our Pastor Brandon come from Beyond Church. Hi, Pastor Brandon. And he sat with some of our youth, our aged out youth, and from afar we could see them having this very wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the conversation is about, and he does not need to share that with us.
No.
But this conversation that was happening during this event, as they're sitting there intimately having this discussion and feeling that ability to do that while their baby is running around playing with dinosaurs and cars and all of that stuff. You've seen children in awe of the amount of toys. I do think it's a little bit of an overstimulation because they don't know what to grab, and so they grab everything. but we've had babies cry because they can't take the dinosaur, but they will now be able to take the dinosaur.
They can have the dinosaur.
It's become this space where it creates an ambiance of I can just bring my guard down. I can sit in here, I can read to my baby if I want to pull out a book. I can watch my baby play. I can play with my baby on the floor. Adults can go in there and have conversations with our youth as our youth throw themselves on a beanbag, right? So I haven't gotten verbal feedback, but I've been able to observe the impact that this little room has had.
Yeah.
And
almost peeking through the windows, you would think it's a home environment.
Oh yeah.
Like someone's just having a get together, people are laughing, playing with their little ones, and I feel like that's what we envisioned, but it's gone a step above that.
Yeah. So we can't wait for this room to be utilized for official visitations, but right now what it's doing is something that I don't think Lakiesha and I even expected from this room.
I mean, even we had a young adult who's a parent have the ability to go through resources while the little one played. So it wasn't where she had to hold the little one and we had to keep the little one busy. It was a very relaxed environment throughout the whole process.
Yeah, and we've even seen some of our teen moms go in there, and it almost brings you back to childhood, which is such a wonderful experience to have. Where again, I can relax for a moment. I can have some fun. I can pull out some of the stuff and play with my babies. That's what a visitation room is supposed to be. It's supposed to build relationship.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help bring connectivity with the families. It's supposed to provide a space where I can, bond with my child. I can find attachment. I can let them know that we may not be physically together every moment of the day, but when you and I are together, this is all that matters. You are all that matters. And I think we've been able to accomplish that. And so we love that room. We spend a lot of time in that room, and we're grateful that a lot of people saw that vision and were willing to help us create that space, what we had already envisioned, and even more so than what we envisioned.
Yeah. And I think this question goes a little deeper too, just in the office in general. We were very intentional about creating just an environment altogether that makes people feel comfortable. And we've had, I don't, it sounds a little boastful and it's not, but everyone who's came into our office, they have told us that this does not feel like a business. It feels like a mini home, like a home away from home. And every time we hear that, we just kind of laugh because that's what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted. And we will also plug in some pictures of our coffee station because that was intentional as well. We wanted a place that whether you a young adult coming here
or a visitor.
We've even had visitors that are here to provide a service for us just for general operations, and they're in awe that they even get to partake in these resources at our coffee station. So we're just thankful that we are in this position to provide to our community no matter what it entails, right? And who comes into our doors.
So thank you so much for watching. I think as we get ready to close the episode of Ministering Over Fostering, we hope you've enjoyed your coffee. We hope you've sat down and just heard all of the things that we had to say. If you ever have any questions and you want us to do another Q&A, shoot us over the questions via DM or send us an email, and we can gather some of these questions again and put together another segment of Q&A. We love Q&As.
Yes.
But I think to close out, if you've been feeling in your heart that you want to join our mission and you just weren't 100% sure, you've been pondering, you've been kind of feeling that tug, but you're not sure what we're doing or how we're doing it, please let us know. If you want to stop by our office,
we'll give an office tour.
Yeah, we'll give you an office tour. We'll share our resources from our beautiful coffee station. You can sit down, we'll chit chat, we'll answer your questions. We want you to know we don't want to pressure anyone, because we ultimately know we're going to be taken care of some way, shape, or form. But the more funds and resources we have available, the more we can do for our kids
on a regular basis.
And so we are consistently looking for monthly donors that are willing to give up their Starbucks coffee for the month and are willing to say, I will pitch in $20 a month, $10 a month, or you know what, I've been blessed, I have a business and I want to start donating to SNL on a monthly basis, $50, whatever that looks like, whatever you're feeling in your heart. We are looking consistently for those donors that would be willing to join our mission. We want you to know that as part of our donors, at the end of the year, you will always receive a letter from us showing you the impact that we're making throughout the year, so you know where your funds are going. We don't shy away from where your funds are going. You can stop by and visit us, and we'll let you know what times we're here so that you can see what is going out, what is happening during that time. So if you've been feeling that, I do want to close out with that, is we are consistently looking for donors, people that are willing to join our mission.
People that say yes. You know, I want to help our community, and I know that would be a huge blessing to us, but overall a huge blessing to those who we are serving.
So thank you again. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Ministering Over Fostering. We promise you all the special guests for the remainder of the year. But thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.